Natalie Dadamio. I'm a mixed media artist and creativity coach. I work with intuition, emotions, energy, and here it's all about Natalie Dadamio Art, where I like to say where creativity, art, and healing converge, because I see like that the process of creativity and art dives deeper into the healing process. When we can access our energy and emotions and utilize them in our work and in our life, we become like more fuller beings in the process. So if you've been waiting around, I've been on hiatus in January, taking a deep dive into myself and thinking about the directions that I really want to be moving towards. So I had to do a lot of eliminating in my life, and some things eliminated me by process, which was really hard. And sometimes grief and shock to the body, it takes a while to like process that out. But what's cool about art and creativity and writing and all that creative juice is like we can really take time and utilize what's around us in other teachers and processes and ways, and find our way again. So that's what I was doing for 30 days. I've been doing a sketchbook challenge. That was as a small, like, affordable course by another artist and creativity coach. Her name is Cheryl Taves Art. I'll put all the links below. That's really been helping me move forward and move past myself, and not only like investigate my art in a deeper way, but like the directions that I really want to be going in life. And I knew it would be a great challenge for me to undertake. She offers prompts and reflections, and actually that's what this video is about. I'm showing you my 30 days of sketchbook work, and I'm talking through it. It's about like 30 minutes long, now probably 32. So if you make it to the end, congratulations. What I aim to do with this channel, in my artwork, in my life, in my coaching and mentoring, is to just be that honest reflection back to you, and tell you the hard truths too, and just so that like untangling all the nuances around everything, which that is a big undertaking, and I'm sure it will work its way out eventually. It's starting to. So if you're interested in that, like just in your authentic expression and the honesty, and like how you can be more vulnerable with yourself and in touch with yourself, because that's what's really going to make hopefully the great art. I feel like that is, and it's hard to get into those places and spaces and let go sometimes because we're holding on so tightly. But what any, like, this 30-day challenge does, or any consistent, regular creative practice, life practice, spiritual practice will do, is it starts to open you, and you're gonna open from where you've been, and what's in the way, the blocks will move out and all that stuff. So it's gonna look different every time for everyone. And we can all like learn and benefit from each other. And so it's important to share the other people that have impacted me. And that's what I also want to do on this channel, because it's not all about me. It is and it isn't. And that's the convoluted, conflicted thing. Same thing with the artwork. It's not always about me, because it's like something beyond me, So how do we keep that distance and become the witness to it all? That's a lifetime's work, I think. Anyway, without further ado, I won't keep talking. I will send you into this is 30 days of reflection and contemplation. Thank you. So this is going to be a 30-day commentary. I'll try to say where I was and where I am now. As I flip through the pages, I want to say on day 2, I had an immediate breakout, and so let's like spend a minute here. It's what I wrote, and it was like also the responses I was getting. That one like really hit I guess, all over the place. It's interesting to notice, like, when something can hit, like, the individual creator emotionally, and then I've really been working to just, like, write more from this honest place and even share from an honest place. I'm interested in the way, like, vulnerability connects us, um, and real honesty, even when it's hard. Like when we admit a hard truth out loud or to another, and then we like work from those places, that's when we can, I think, really heal ourselves and each other and come into a greater community with not just like ourselves, but like the world, and like bring more compassion in the process. So I was just really honest on day 2, and I was like met with like a lot of responses, and I already shifted out of where I was um, really fast. And sometimes I want to talk about that. Sometimes we do shift out really fast in an artwork, in our emotion, in like something maybe we've been holding for years. Sometimes that can create the groundlessness too. Um, because we're losing something, but new stuff is trying to come in. I think that's important. We don't talk about that part a lot. I think it's okay to have that groundlessness. I think like the sketchbook practice that Cheryl Taves introduced with a questioning, just any regular practice that you give yourself, like a daily commitment, not just in art, but in life, you're really going to take yourself somewhere. I do love a good X. That was interesting to just work with that repeating motif. The X, 3X is always a pairs, and that was unconscious, and it still is when it happens. It's like allowing yourself to just like let it be, I think, is one of the big key takeaways, which I tend to do that anyway, but I'm doing it even more so here. Like it isn't resolved, it isn't maybe what I want, but there's still something here, and I think that's important. Like you can see the history of like a moment over time in like the rough idea, but sometimes we get so scared about this, right? Oh, it's ugly, or it's not working. Yeah, it's not working, but what is working and what is cool? So you can learn from like what isn't working just as much as you can learn from what is working. And actually the only way to get to what's working is to make the things that aren't working, and that's like the messed up thing that is hard for us to understand. um so the Nicholas Wilton podcast, Art to Life, is really good. Start listening to the whole thing during this challenge. And he's saying whatever you make, you have to come about it. It has to mean something to you. Nicholas Wilton said that, I think, in the podcast with Austin Kleon. So I think that's true, because like, or else you're gonna be fucking bored, man. And then like, we worry maybe about how it's received, and I mean that is a big element, especially if you want to go on to sell things. But but I don't know. I think still like it's in that like willingness to like. Just get in there, and maybe it isn't working for a while until it is, and stay with it. Oh yeah, that's the real work. Is like when it's not working, how do you show up in those moments, and like we all hit that stuff. Like there's a lot of things that come up. But, it's like, how do we move through that? I think this other thing about a daily practice, it allows you to move through those things, like the insecurity, the fear, the judgment, the doubt. You can really let go, because you're not, well, it's not becoming a product, right? I think that's the divide when we attach the other things to the thing. But when we're just like creating for ourselves, we see like, whoa, look at all this stuff here. This was a great day. And I think there's a lot more here. It isn't resolved, right? But there's like many things that are going on that are hitting me. I think that's the important thing. Like, you're just like an investigator, an explorer. Like, what's surfacing within you? I think I started off with like a very hard, depressing moment that I was working through. It really shook me and shocked me, and it threw me off. So I was able to work that out and like have these great realizations within this challenge, and that I'm really grateful for. This is my Cy Twombly day. um, he has those red, like curly Q paintings. I forget what they're called. But that's where the red was coming from, and I've been like writing erratic text into the paint, and I like this day. I could do more of that. I think that probably scares me though, but that's the thing. You can like kind of face your fears. This is like a bonus page. This was cool. I like this idea of the fold outs. I started to do that kind of before, but explored it more here. This day was a complete mess. There's something about just giving yourself the permission to like have a complete disaster. But there's still cool elements here. Like, that's the thing, like when you're like looking through this history, like it's never where you want it to be. I don't know. And then as soon as you have like a bunch of paintings hanging to show like I do now, I'm like, oh wow, that work is old. Like, because you're already moved on from it. I think that's the hardest thing. Because like, but you have to just like learn to let it go. And this kind of practice, a daily practice, a sketchbook practice, kind of, well, it really teaches you to let go, because you're just like doing it for yourself, really. But maybe you're showing it, and then it's relating into other people, and that's cool too. This, I was mad because initially this was supposed to be a page about like minimal marks, but then I made this, I dumped this on, and it bled through, and then like I was like, oh, it looks like a person, and I was giving it wings, and like it's kind of cool now. Like, I don't know, like that's an accident, so you pay attention to those moments more. This was just my straight up color. Ooh, this was about, I made a video and I never shared. It was really honest. I decided not to. See, so like it doesn't always all come out. That's the thing about vulnerability that I think I want to talk about. There's like multiple levels of vulnerability. So like you could say a surface level thing, but you're really not saying the whole thing. Just like in a painting, like you could explain an element of a painting, but like it doesn't mean you're telling the whole story. So even the like vulnerability is curated, so it's something to remember about just that idea. We don't need to be afraid to like share something, and of course some things are going to be like too private, and that's a decision that the individual makes. So this is about I got criticized a bunch of times in my Instagram feed during this challenge, and I think the one I always did an automatic drawing videos, and the guy is like, why don't you draw something? So this is my response to that. It says draw something. There you go, guy. That's the thing. This is kind of like my Paul Klee, like, influence. I've been looking at a lot of him and Twombly, really. They're very, like, interesting people. I really love this day. I could see this being like a large painting, like 30 by 40, or, you know, this one too. So these 2 days were kind of like singing. I noticed like some days they're just like really singing, and then other days not so much, like for me. So that's interesting to notice the emotional states, because you're constantly shifting in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And that's what like showing up daily will show you. I pretty much show up daily anyway, but this like gives me another element, because there was like questions to think about, and also it gives me like the interaction with, because other people were doing it at the same time, so I get to like learn from them as well, by what they're doing. That's an important part of the process. Like, I think we need to learn from what other people are doing, because I think we all hold keys to like unlocking the mystery, and when we're able to open and share those freely with each other, that's where the like real stuff can like start to happen. There's a lot of things about freedom. What I notice for myself too is I'm just like more free to express myself and openly, publicly, and it does go into the work. I see that. That's been a gradual progression out over the last 4 years, specifically more like the last 2, from 2019, you know, and on. But and we're just entering 2022. So I noticed a shift within me, an internal shift. I've done this challenge before. I've noticed that it's much more complex for me this time around. When I looked at my old sketchbook, that's really interesting to notice, because I've evolved in like 6 months in a really intense way. And I can trace back those moments, not just from like the painting, but like I was really tapping into this deeper emotional shit that's been like in my way for a long time, like and it's not easy. So like what I want to also talk about is, like, when we're looking for freedom, sometimes we're just in our own way, you know. But it's not like it isn't there. So it's about, to me, like facing where you are, and like unlocking that door for yourself. Unfortunately, like only you can really unlock that door, because you're the one that knows you, and like what's in the way, and what you're hiding, and what you're lying to yourself about, right? So but when there's judgment and blame, then that's what creates the shame and guilt. And like, I don't think we should ever put that upon someone else. And that's what I've been learning in this challenge. And that's also what I've been learning to, like, when I look at other people's work, is to like see the differences. And maybe it's not like totally what I'm interested in, but how do I learn and take an element that I like from it in order to like grow as a person, you know? That is like a huge like thing that we can all do in life, but that takes a lot of like inner awareness, commitment, resilience, willing to like look at the hard stuff and like stuff we might not like about ourselves. So facing all the sides allows for an opening and a grounding, and it doesn't happen immediately. It happens slowly over time. It can happen rapidly, and then that's what creates the groundlessness in ourselves. But that is a natural like place to be, or which it gets overlooked. I don't know why, because nobody wants to talk about those hard times or admit like, oh, maybe I wasn't the best person here, or maybe, you know, or when things get like really confusing, um, it's easy to blame, right? And it's harder to like look at yourself. And like to have the real conversation. I'm interested in that, the real conversation, the vulnerability and expression. I'm kind of interested in like the things that people don't want to share. I guess that's why I choose to share them. Because like I notice people open more in the process, and including myself. Um, so and you put that into the art, and then it becomes like really vulnerable, and it starts to like really sing. At least that's what I've noticed. That's taken a few years to like even just get to that place, and now it's changing again, and that's what I noticed within these pages. um this was an awesome day. I could do more of that. I love soft pastel, and it's mostly soft pastel and graphite and just some acrylic. Um, this was like, there was like a lightness and a freedom that I'm feeling in these pages. Despite like, this was another good day because it's just like this drawing element. And I can even recall the memory from that day. Like, it was really like I really let go on that surface, and like so that's the thing I noticed. Like this one is like woo, and then some other ones are like not that much like doing it for me, but then that's what you like want to notice when you're in your work, your main work or whatever. When is it like really going woo, and then when is it like not really doing that? um that's the best explanation I have for that. This was like, oh, maybe I can be minimal. I didn't share that. um Maybe I was embarrassed of my like minimal. I don't know, trying to be subtle. I don't know. I'll tell you where I really get confused is like because like maybe they say subtlety is sophisticated, or like if it's minimal then like, oh, it's so sophisticated. But I really like don't care about that. But like at the same time, it's like really been like my Achilles heel. Like I'm like, I'm not sophisticated. Like like it was in my way for a long time. That's what I'm trying to say. But I think um addressing this through the pages and like just through the years, because this is like a culmination of lots of years here in these pages, because I'm like coming to it from a different place. So that's the important thing too. Like we're all starting from a different place. We all have different things that we're carrying around and that are in our way. So that's really gonna like alter like a perception, and depending on where we are, we'll have to work out the stuff like emotionally and mentally, maybe even spiritually, depending on where you are. But it's okay to just like explore, I think, is the biggest takeaway, right? I mean, I think like for me, I have a history of abandonment and like a lot of like shyness and insensitivity, like so it was just harder for me to come out into my work, into life, and like really own who I am. And that's been like, that will continue to probably be the rest of my life's work. Like, how do I just own the experience? And I think what art making does in a daily practice of some sort is like, it shows you who you are, it shows you where you want to go, it shows you where you're stuck, it shows you where you've been. Everything is going on in these days and pages, and that's cool though, because it's like, a history of you in paint and maybe words or whatever. This was a great day, and it was just 5 marks. So this is a page glue. What happened is the yellow paint was spilled on my table, so I scooped it up, and that was the first like pass. And then so I did these pages though individually, five for each page. So it was just like yellow paint. I pasted this blue page down because that's the paper. I did this green mark, and then I did this white mark, like whoo, like really big, and then I did that graphite mark. That's very exciting. Um, the accidental pink overspray came from this page, so that kind of is like 5.5 by accident. Because here I started with the yellow, I did that blue soft pastel mark, I did that big white mark, I stapled this on, and then I poured the pink and sprayed it, which that might be 6 because I had sprayed it. But then I just like, that's exactly what happened and left it that way. That teaches us a lot right there. Like, because to me, I think like you could make these two pieces larger and they would work like really well. So I guess even though I hate limitations, I think it's my INFP, like Enneagram 4 that hates limitations. But and um but there I like learned about limitations, so maybe it is okay to limit yourself sometimes, but it could still be dynamic. I think what I'm always worried about in limiting myself is that I'm gonna lose that freedom. Please don't, like, I don't want to lose this part of me, and I think that's what maybe we're so scared of a lot of times, not just in art but in life. Like, if I like leave this thing or do that thing or say that thing, then I'm gonna like lose something. But I guess what I'm learning in the limitations is like, and when people leave you or you change yourself, is that like it opens up the space because it was like no longer working. So, but now like there's a lot more space that happens within the a limitation, and like we often perceive it as negative, and sometimes it's very painful and we have to move through that. But like it still like taught us something, right? I'm not saying that this was painful, this was fun, but I'm just talking about more about the life things because I kind of see the interfacing between like the limitations and these other ideas in life, because like, but like maybe we're just afraid to like, just choose a direction for a moment because we don't want to lose something. But sometimes you have to lose the thing in order to gain more. Is that making sense? So within that, like, I guess maybe there is loss and limitation in it, but it's okay. I don't know. I'm working that one out myself. This was a day I didn't share. Um, this was a nice subtle day. There's a lot going on here for me. And then, oh, this is towards the end. I kind of just been leaving it messy at the end. And this is the last day. So it's like you allow yourself to go places, and you really can take yourself somewhere. And you notice that it's not different every day, but you notice that there's like so much inside of you. And I think overall, what this challenge has done for me is given me a place to like really work out what was been going on for me and blocking me as I started this new year. It allowed me to slow down, even though I was doing something daily. I'm still like going deeper into myself and really allowing it to just be what it wants to be without the judgment. And I think that's the biggest piece. I didn't judge the mess and I didn't judge what's coming up. And then within the process of not judging that or myself, or I was able to see like a little bit deeper and past things. And like just sometimes leaving it unfinished, which I like to do that in my main work anyway, but it even takes me to the next level within myself with that idea. And that's really exciting and cool. I can always already feel and notice the shift. And I allow myself to share freely and write what I wanted to write. And I was met with, you know, unexpected commentary, which was really cool. Like, and I can see the relation, and I know that like internally that I have a lot of work to do that is more than just painting. It's about the connection and the celebration and the remembering of like what it means to have imagination and creativity, and how we can transform and transcend in the process. And maybe those words are too lofty, and like sometimes I'm afraid of the depth and the wisdom that I was just naturally always attuned to, that soulful peace inside of me. But that is my like work, that peace, that soul work. And it happens through the art, and art is a vehicle and a gateway for me to express all of that. And like this sketchbook shows me that, and it says, it's okay to be all of you in the process. And that makes me emotional because it's been a long journey to like feel that. And I notice like in my life right now that things are starting to shift outward, where like the two things are meeting. And it's just really nice, like and it's an internal process. um and like lots of people can support you in that process, but only you can take yourself there. And but it's like that's why we need each other, right, in art and life. And it's a deeper message than, just like colors on a surface. um anyway, if you listen to this whole video. So if you are into this kind of thing and you've watched the video all the way through, then I'm sure you're resonating. Just hit subscribe, and I'm gonna be a lot more vocal on this channel this year. And what I'm really moving into is my full expressions, not just in art, but in my life. And there's energetic expressions and emotional expressions, and I'm gonna start to bring elements of my life story out, because I feel like, ooh, now it's not really affecting me like it used to. And share those elements that help you stay in your creative space, in a good mindset. It's all about creativity, deep diving, emotions, energy, reflecting, having that inner awareness, and learning to become more closer to ourselves, because that's where we have to do the work. Everyone wants to like change everyone else, but it really starts with ourselves. And what an art practice can do is really start to change you, even if it's just like a daily simple practice, without like, doesn't have to be doing anything more than that. It just can be opening you, and that's really amazing and powerful. So I'll be doing a lot more process and talking from an energetic perspective, and mindset stuff, because it's always good to be reminded of that. I even need to do that, and that's why I take other courses and learn from people and continue to learn, because it's not, it's, we hit rough patches no matter where we are in life, even if we like had great epiphanies. The show still goes on. And we're lucky if we're here now and able to like make the work, and look and have this awareness. So it's all about that, and thank you for being here.